Hey everyone, welcome back to the Capcombos podcast, where we get down to the nitty-gritty aspects of student life. We have new main episodes every other Monday, and new sub-series episodes on the Wednesdays in between. Make sure to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, don't forget to drop a follow on our Instagram at Capcombos Podcast. Enjoy! Howdy y'all! Welcome back to the Capcombos Podcast, Rants edition. I'm Ella, and today I'm joined by Kaila, and we will be talking about university and not so much the academic tips and advice, those types of things about university. Yeah, we're talking about how we were our nerves, the psychological impact of university and applying to it and being grade 12 students.
Yeah, this is just, if you want some, better advice, check out, we did 2 main episodes, where we talked about the application process, and picking your programs. And maybe there'll be actual information there, but this is just us talking about how I've been thinking about this for the last year and, kind of crying over the fact that I am now supposed to be a functioning adult in, a month. I don't know what that's about. That's terrifying.
Yeah. It's mostly the, oh my god, I'm not gonna be in high school anymore. I'm not gonna be at my parents' house. I'm gonna be alone, and I have to. I have to do my own laundry. Yeah. I have to figure out what to eat.
Yeah, I was thinking. Okay, I have to. My mom keeps saying things like, "Oh, you should start making a list of all the things." Okay, so context. Let me start with this. When I was growing up, I was never one of those kids that was like, "I can't wait to move out of the city, the suburbs, this town. I want to go away to the city." I was never that. My plan was to stay as close to home as possible, commute, save myself those residency bills. But then when we went to the university fair in grade 11, I went to the Carleton booth, which is in Ottawa, and I was like, ooh, okay, this program has what I want. It's in a location that will benefit me greatly for my career choice. Guess we're going to Ottawa. And I proceeded to cry about that for a long time. Fun fact, in our little Discord server where we have all our calf combo stuff, I made a channel one night. I was really sad. My university is just called Kaila's Sad. And it's just me losing it over the fact that I'm going to be moving 5 hours away from my family and our friends, and our whole friend group is splitting up.
Yeah.
It's really
the toughest part about, okay, not the toughest part, but one of the biggest parts about going to university, picking your things, is just the fact that you shouldn't be picking your universities based off your friends. That's common knowledge. But then a bit of you is like, oh, all my friends are gonna be going to different university. We're all gonna be so far apart. Okay, so Ottawa is on the end of Lake Ontario. Not even. It's on the okay. If you go to the end of Lake Ontario, the end that way towards Quebec, and you go upwards from that, if you go up the Rideau Canal from the lake or whatever, you can get to Ottawa, right?
All right. Yeah.
And most of the universities that people are planning on going to are somewhat near a body of water that connects to lake.
Is this thing about
Yes, it is.
To your friends? Okay.
There's literally an entire lake between us now. More... Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be at one end of the lake, and you're gonna be at the other end.
Well, if you think about where all of us are from, we kind of all split off in opposite directions.
Yeah.
I go this way. My closest... Okay, between our group of friends, the closest person so far to me is gonna be Emma. And Emma is gonna be in Quebec. So there's your context. I'm gonna be very sad and alone.
You can just go over the border and then oh my god, you can't even go to bars and stuff with Emma because she's gonna be 17. She's still gonna be 17. So even if you go to Quebec, you're just gonna be, you can just do non-alcoholic activities with her.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. But it's just, university is there's so much more, because I feel there's this kind of idea that you apply, you get in, and you're kind of good.
Yeah.
But for me at least, the application process was really anticlimactic, and the acceptance process, I kind of one night I didn't want to do an English assignment, and I was like, I need to do something instead. I'm like, I'm going to accept my university offers now, and I did that. That was all the thinking that went in. Mm-hmm. Well, that's a lie. I did know where I wanted to go, but the actual going and pressing the I accept button, that was the thinking process.
The movie thing, the way movies and shows kind of portray the whole, oh my god, I'm I want to, like the whole thing. Maybe it's different because Canadian
Like,
university.
I didn't even get a letter. Well, I didn't see it. It was like in an inbox buried in their website.
Like, I don't. Okay, maybe universities in the U.S. like college and stuff is different because they have like a really different like scene for that. But in like where like Canada or whatever, it's not really like. I don't know. It's yeah, like you said, it's really anticlimactic. Like we just pressed a button and then that was it, you know? Like
Yeah.
like cuz I know some universities I've seen like people's like US acceptance and stuff when they open the little thing, they get like little confetti at the bottom of their screens and stuff. I didn't get any of that.
We don't get any of that.
Apparently,
I got an email saying my acceptance status changed and that's it.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if anyone else applied to McMaster's, but there was a time where the school accidentally accepted everybody.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we all got our offers and stuff, and then they were like, "Wait, never mind. We're sorry, you didn't get an offer." But then we got it like a few weeks later. It was really because I remember everyone's like, "Oh, check your thingy. They didn't send you an email, but they changed it on the website or whatever. So check." And I was like, "Oh my god, I got in." So I told my mom and everything, and I was super excited. And then they were like, "Oh, oopsies, we made an error. You don't have acceptances. We didn't mean to send out acceptances. So everybody stop it."
Scary.
And then I got really embarrassed to tell my mom that I did actually like I know because it was like it's kind of embarrassing when you're like, "Oh, actually that was a mistake on their part. I didn't get in." But like but I did. But at the moment I would have been saying, "Oopsies, mom, sorry, I didn't actually get into university." So I just didn't tell her, and then I got my actual offer, and then I was like, okay, thank God I don't just yeah. So I got the offer, and then I sent her the thing. I was like, "Look, mom, they sent me my letter finally," and then she was like, "Yay!" So she has no suspicion that I wasn't.
There we go, perfect.
Yeah, but
I mean, like, the application acceptance process is not really the hard part. At least for me, the hard part for me was like, I guess, rationalizing the fact that I'm going to be moving and how, like, what things am I going to need to take with me? When am I going to get to come home and see my family? How do you get on a train? I don't know. How to like, and just because of like my own personal family situation, like, and again, I'm gonna bring in movies like they drive down to the university, they pack the car, they have the emotional goodbye in front of the building. My family can't do that. My mom is going to drive me to the train station and say bye, and I'm going to get on a train and cry the whole ride down to the university and be like, wow, I'm alone.
There are really nice trains though. Like, really early on, I was looking at train prices for our universities. There are really nice trains that run between
it's expensive.
I know, but like, do you want like I don't know, like spend out for that like first,
No.
No, I think it would feel nicer to cry in your own enclosed space with a nice couch than it is to cry on like an airplane seat in a train.
True.
You know what?
We'll see.
We can start a GoFundMe. Let Kaila go on a nice train.
It's on my first class ticket to university.
Yeah.
No.
I think for me, it wasn't really like the accepting the fact that you're going to university. It was for me. It was like applying, but not like. I guess it was more like, oh, what do I apply to? Like, I don't know what I want to do, because everyone's like, oh, I want to go into metaphysics, freaking engineer, mechatronics, freaking like I want to be a radio, what do you call those, like X-ray technicians, and I'm like, I didn't even know that was like a thing. Like, how do you know all these careers? Like, how do you know you want to go into water management? Like. No, there are programs at university that are like water management. You literally learn how to water manage or manage water. Okay, I don't. Maybe that's. Not, but it's like, I think it's like understanding what water is clean and what water is dirty and like what to do with. I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah, but then I'm like, how do you like? There's such niche like, things you can apply to, and I'm like, how are you? You know what I mean? Like when people are like, "Oh, I'm going into sociology with a planned minor in freaking peanut not peanut, I don't know. Like there's like P&B, psychology, neurology, brain. That's not what it means.
Yeah.
But people are like doing that. I'm like, how do you even know you want to like go into that? How are we choosing? I also don't know what P&B stands for now. I don't think the last word is brain, but.
I'm the opposite. I had an issue of finding the program that was niche enough for what I wanted because I was thinking like in grade 10 careers, I was like, man, what am I good at? I'm like, it's not math. I don't want to be a teacher. I don't want to be a doctor. So I was like, geez, what am I good at? And I'm like, I think I'm good with people, like, kinda. People say I'm cool. So psychology. But then I was like, I don't want to do general psychology because, eh. And I was like, I like crime. And then I was like, ooh, okay, this is kind of cool. Criminal psychology, but no one offers like criminal psychology as an undergraduate program because typically you do your general psychology degree and then you would specialize in postgraduate. So there was only 2 programs that actually offered the concentration in forensic psychology in the like within my budget, I guess, like in our area. Like I probably could have gone to BC and found a program, but I had no money for that. But that just meant that my location wise, I was very limited, and the reason I ended up choosing Carleton partially was because they had a co-op program, and I was like, well, if I'm gonna find a job in this field that's kind of niche, I'm gonna need connections. So it all rationalizes in your head, and I'm sure like other people who also have like picked their program, they're like logically I'm gonna go here because this is gonna give me the best education and option. But at the same time, when am I gonna get to see everyone? Like when am I gonna get to come home? When am I gonna get to see my friends? Are our schedules gonna line up? Are we all gonna be so busy that we can't even talk to each other?
Yeah.
Like it's scary.
Like I have enough faith in our friendship that we won't like drift apart. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Like a part of you kind of thinks about like all the friends you have right now, and you're like, I wonder if I'm actually like, if our friendships are like solid enough to continue past high school, because you know when you're like friends with people just because you're in their classes, and like you wouldn't really be their friend if you weren't in their class. It's like like after high school and after all your classes end, are those like, I guess, situational friendships, like you were kind of thrown into something together, are you still gonna be friends, or like I'm really I'm scared for like I don't know, you know when group chats start dying and there's like a visual like time where you can see where everyone kind of stopped being friends. I'm really worried for that. Like the fact that I'm gonna like visually see people stop talking to each other, people stop interacting on like in our group chat and stuff. It just kind of stop, and I don't know. I think I might cry if that happens.
Yeah, no, cause okay, like I have 2 opinions, because like on one side, like when we went from grade 8 to grade 9, even in that first year of high school, you saw friendships drastically change. And like people that I thought, I was like, yeah, I think I'll probably still be friends with them, even though we're going to different high schools. Like, I never talked to them. And it was kind of sad. And now you kind of just their Instagram and you're like, man, they look really happy. And like, you're really happy for them and you have that same affection for them, but you're not close anymore. And now that you're putting like hours of distance between you and your friends, it's like I don't want to lose those friendships, but at the same time, like, is it and like the cynical part of you is like, is it inevitable?
Yeah, but I think there's a big difference between like a grade 8 to grade 9 friendship, you know, because I feel like you're more mature now, and you're like, I don't know, your friendships are more solid, because a lot of the friends that we have right now, because we're like we share like the same friend, but a lot of the friends we have, we've known them for like a really long time, you know what I mean? Like some of them since elementary school, and like it's like it's inevitable that you lose friendship along the way, but like, you know, it's been like
core group of friends.
Yeah, like we're all like, it's a pretty like solid rock, you know what I mean? Like I'm pretty confident in our friendship. It's not like oh, we go to different high schools and then we're not gonna be friends anymore. It's like, but it's like, are we gonna be so busy, or like are we, you know, like
that's the thing I'm worried about, is like busyness and schedule, or like and studying.
We're all gonna have like different friends. We're all gonna have like stuff to do. So this is this gonna be put on like the back burner? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I mean, technically, we're gonna be like forced to be friends for this podcast. There's no way. You know what I mean?
That's true. Well, also, even without this podcast, I would force you to be friends with me, because I don't know what to do without you in my life. So
I would be calling you for advice, like, oh, how long do I keep a sweet potato in the oven for? Or something. Actually, you know what? I'm actually really nervous about the food situation, because
same.
Like, do you cook or do you buy food? You know what I mean? Because you can cook,
I don't
but
get to cook.
Oh, I have.
You don't depends on your residency.
I have like a communal kitchen in mine or something. But
Oh
then again,
really?
yeah. But it's like, do I really want to be like busting out my own pans and pots just to bake it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
My mom doesn't want. I think my university had the same thing too, but my mom's really against it for first year because she's like, you are not gonna have time to cook.
yeah,
You are not gonna have time to do anything. Please just buy the stupid meal pass or meal plan, okay?
yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
I
Oh,
also still don't get how the meal plan works. Like, I think, I don't know. All I
same.
know is that like, is there like a okay? Maybe I think it'd be funny if we listen back to this episode and we listen to ourselves say stupid stuff about like, what is a meal plan? What is a kitchen?
No, like, no, but okay. From what I understand, you buy a meal plan that gives you like a certain amount of money, and you kind of spend it like you would spend money in a cafeteria. But I don't know how cheap their food is, so maybe it's just extremely cheap that the money that they're describing is enough. But I feel like the money that they say comes with the standard meal plan is not enough for a whole semester. Or maybe I'm just like fully misunderstanding what a meal plan is, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I know that
Um,
like McMaster has like a bunch of little restaurants and like food places that are
mm,
like included in some meal plan thing, but I don't know what that means. 'Cause I'm pretty sure you still have to pay, but it's just cheaper if
yeah,
you have a meal plan. I don't know, but
yeah.
I've been thinking like, what do I do if I'm hungry and everything's closed? Like I just sit there hungry, sad. Like I'll have snacks, but like, what if I want a meal?
True.
I can't
True.
like you know what I mean? Cause I sometimes I eat dinner at like 11, just because like
Uber. That's expensive.
can you even Uber to university?
Yeah. Okay, that's another thing. Okay, this one I would say this is up there with one of the things that like I don't know what's going on. I suck at directions. Like I will get lost um going down the street. So I don't know how I'm gonna navigate a whole university campus and a whole new city. So that's also something that's been keeping me up is uh sorry professor, I'm late to class. I walked in the opposite direction, went into the wrong building, fell down a flight of stairs, but I'm here now.
I've been going
Like
around the city and like the campus on Google Maps just to like just I
I
don't know
should
like
probably do
when I get
that.
excited about university I just do that like so oh crap I forget what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, I've been looking at like the dorms and stuff and all the rooms, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm really worried I'm gonna get a really bad room because you know how there's like different
I
types
don't
of
want to
like
roommate. I
residencies
don't
and
want to
stuff like
roommate.
that. I'm scared I'm
Yeah.
gonna get like a really ugly room or like a really like a bad room, like not enough light. You have to share like a washroom with
Yeah.
like 20 people because there's
Ew.
rooms where you have like it's like a cluster of four and you guys share a washroom, which is like I think that's more manageable than like shit. You know what I mean? Like, what if I have to
Yeah.
like rip a fat one and there's people in the freaking washroom just doing
Oh
like
my
their own
gosh, your
thing?
poor roommates. Every time you.
But no, I mean,
What if
like,
all of you are lactose intolerant? Then what?
yeah, like the amount of what if everyone has like bowel issues? Like some form. Like there's a lactose intolerance person, there's a gluten intolerant person, there's someone with IBS, and
Okay,
all
the
of
thing
us
is
are huddled in the
though,
washroom.
people who are gluten intolerant actually see people who are gluten intolerant tend to actually follow the fact that they shouldn't be eating gluten. It's just lactose intolerant people that like don't give a crap.
It's gonna be like ice cream day somewhere, and then like 20 minutes later, the entire washroom is just occupied. And it stinks. Everyone's doing a fatty dump in there, man.
Too
But no.
bad. Too bad. You know what? Emma's residency looks really nice because she's getting one of the ones that are like they overtook a hotel.
Mhm.
That's so smart. I wish.
Yeah.
I wish.
Actually, okay. I saw a cool TikTok. This one university near like the border, like Canada, whatever. They ran out of like because COVID, right? Everyone had to stay in their own dorm. They ran out of like single rooms or something. So they sent people to Great Wolf Lodge, and there were people from that university just chilling in Great Wolf Lodge.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and then they have their own rooms and stuff, and they have like the Great Wolf Lodge rooms, and then
Mhm.
and then like because it's still open or it was open for a while, and there were like kids in there doing kids activities like in their own when people tape squares on the floor and then they have like 6 foot squares and you have to
Yeah.
stay in your square. They had
Yeah.
those, and it was like little kids like doing like little fitness activity with like some random instructor. They were like jumping around, and then they were just there in the back doing it too. I think it's really like imagine going to Great Wolf Lodge for university. I think that'd be really cool.
Okay, university. Okay, so residency. On the topic of like rooms and stuff, I want a single room. I don't. I kind of have this really bad mindset about friends because I'm like, I like my friend group right now. I don't need new friends. But none of them are going to my university, so I'm gonna be alone. We've made peace with that. And all my friends are gonna meet new people, which is okay because that's just how life works. You meet new people. But I suck at meeting new people, and I'm really scared of not. Actually, like, I tell myself that I'll be okay alone, and like part of me likes being alone and like having quiet, but at the same time, like, I'm probably gonna want to talk to someone. Um, but I don't get along with people for extended periods of time. My social battery is not that long, and like parties and that kind of stuff, not really my scene. So I'm really scared that I'm just gonna not find anyone that I vibe with. Um, and I'll be alone for the next 5 years, but that's okay.
Oh, no, I don't know. You don't actively look for friends; they find you. That's the way life
That's true.
goes. Yeah.
That's true. You kind of adopted me
Yeah.
as your
We didn't really actively be like, Job wanted a friend. Like, we didn't, we just kind of became friends. Just,
yeah.
like, I guess, once again, situational friendship when you're thrown in a class with, like, maybe, like, a crappy professor and then everyone forms, like, a bond. Or, like,
That's true.
or like, you're sitting beside, like, someone and then you're like, oh, can I borrow your notes? And then they send them to you and then you keep talking through that. Just, like, situational friendships like that.
Mm-hmm. Bump into someone in the hallway. My books drop.
Oh, Axel Ryder! I'm sorry. Watch where you're going, nerd. No.
No, but I don't know. Like, I feel like maybe it's kind of. I think I have the same kind of uh, anxiousness that I had going into high school, but when like in grade 8, you're like high school and like high school parties and like all this stuff and all of the stuff that like movies tell you high school's gonna be like.
Like
So
worrying
maybe
if
I
you're gonna
have
be
that.
invited to like parties where you hold like red Solo cups, or like,
Yeah.
or what if like what clique are you gonna be part of? But there's like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like when you go into high school, like the transition from like elementary to high school and high school to college or university is like really different because you don't understand anything when you're in grade 8. You know what I mean? Like
That's true.
you don't fully grasp the concept of like going into like a new environment, or like how the environment might be different than what people have been telling you, like a TV show. You know what I mean? So I think we're better suited to go into university, but it's still scary.
Yeah. It is. And it's just like there's so much like I'm becoming so much more aware now of like all of the different life things I'm gonna have to be doing. Like I have to do my own laundry. I'm gonna have to go grocery shopping if I end up making food for myself. I'm gonna have to put my laundry away and not just leave it on my bed for a week. I'm gonna have to like manage my classes, keep my room clean, somehow have a social life, get involved in things, find a job. Like it's a lot of just like it kind of all hits you like, oh shoot, like oh, and the thing that scares me the most is it's not gonna be like if I get to Ottawa, right, and I'm like, oh, I need to do this thing, and I'm like, oh shoot, I left it at home. I can't just walk home to get it. I'm gonna be stuck there, and I'm gonna be like, shoot, I'm gonna have to buy a whole new thing, and it's like, and then I'm gonna have to ship all that back when I go home for the summer. Like,
why don't you just get like a really big duffel bag and put everything in it?
yeah,
I mean, okay, well, like, what are you shipping back? Like your clothes?
yeah, clothes.
Just get a big bag, 7 bags.
I'm
Just
gonna be
go.
honest. I don't even know what I need to bring. My mom keeps telling me to just
Yeah,
start
like,
thinking about that, but I'm really scared, so I don't
do you
think
ever
about it.
see tours, or like not tours? Why did I say tours? Videos of like things you should bring to university, and then they just start listing all these things that you need, but they're so like extravagant and extra, and then you watch another video, it's like, oh, don't bring any of these extra things, these are the basics that you need, and then every single video that you watch of like uh college students tips for high school students going to like, you know what I mean, they all say like different things, like invest in nice shoes, don't spend your money on shoes, spend your money on this, don't buy stupid gadgets like a egg slicer, you know what I mean. No, you know those like egg slicers, you put the egg in and then and they're all like, it's all like different things, you know what I mean?
I'm taking the toaster. We have a smart oven toaster, and I told my mom I'm taking that with me.
Oh.
Because if anything, my go-to food will just be toast.
I think I'm pretty good with like eating plain things and not getting annoyed. Like I'm pretty good at separating, like, there's like tasty food and then survival food.
That's
Tasty
true.
food is like going out, having a nice meal, or maybe cooking a meal you want. Survival food is like, I'm gonna put this bread and put something on the bread and eat it. You know?
Or just bread raw. I feel like high school teachers and like when they prep you for university, as soon as you get your acceptances, it's kind of like, okay, you're on your own now.
Mm.
And I feel like that's when you kind of need the guidance the most
Mm-hmm.
because like at least for us, like we talked about it, like the application process is really simple. It's laid out on the website. Like you put this. The schools are the ones that send in your marks. You're responsible for your own applications. Like that's easy. Like well, not easy, but like it's stuff that you're kind of used to. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like you write your assignments. But like you know, like
Yeah.
when you would go on school trips and they would give you a list of like all the things you need to bring.
Yeah.
I
There's
wish
no.
they would do
Yeah.
that for
Like.
university. Like
Mm-hmm.
like
You know.
6 pairs of socks,
Mm-hmm.
shampoo, conditioner, like
Yeah.
hairbrush. Tell me what I need.
You know when teachers are like, oh, in university you're not gonna be able to do this, or like university is different than high school, you're not gonna be able to do this, and then but then they don't tell you what you're supposed to be doing next. Like how are you gonna say this won't fly in university, and then not elaborate on it? Like what do you mean? What do you mean this won't fly? Like me writing my name in the right corner won't fly. I have to write it on the left
Yeah,
corner. Like what do you?
yeah,
What do you? I don't understand. Like can you elaborate? And then they're like,
yeah.
you'll
You'll
learn.
see, you'll see.
Like
But
no,
then
I
you
don't.
get into you get into university, and then the prof is gonna be like, you should have learned this in high school, so we're just
Yeah.
over it. And I'm like,
You know when like in grade like in one grade your teacher's like, oh, you're gonna learn about this next year, and then you get to next year and they're like, oh, you should have learned about this last year. That
yeah,
like awkward, like what, my teacher didn't say that. But then it's
mm-hmm.
gonna be like large scale university and high school, like,
Yeah.
oh, you should have learned this in high school. No, how is that supposed to learn how to freaking Ugh,
You
I'm
know what?
sorry.
Shout out to our English teacher though, because she's like
Mm-hmm.
actually putting together this like cohesive thing, like of here's how you write your papers, here's how you cite your papers, here's how you do your multiple
Mm-hmm.
choice exams, like here's how you do this in university, like and oh here's your database of different like websites to get
Mm-hmm.
textbooks and stuff, and I'm like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
thank you.
um I another part of university that's kind of stressful, I guess, is maybe waiting for your offers, because you know when you apply,
Mm-hmm.
and then you like hear about these people that are applying in the same program as you with like 100 averages and stuff, or like or maybe just like I don't know, being because there's a chance that you might not get any like offers. You know what I mean? Like the chance of like you applying and then not getting anything back, like like that's a possible, like
Scary.
not to scare anybody listening, but like
Yeah,
realistically, you know it's a thing. Like, or what if you don't get into this one university? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, you know what I mean? When you kind of
mm-hmm.
have like one that you're kind of pegging for, and then you're excited,
Yeah.
but like maybe you haven't gotten your offer yet, and you're like, oh shoot, like or maybe seeing people get the offers before you, and then being like, ah, dang it, like
Yeah.
especially for competitive programs. I didn't apply for like super competitive programs, but I know some of my friends are like some
Still
like
waiting.
like for like ones about like medicine and like health stuff, they're still waiting for offers, and
Yeah, that's I don't
or
think I could do that.
like in the McMaster cert, okay, it's kind of like I don't want to just throw the word toxic in there, but it's like I guess okay, it's annoying on my part seeing people being like, oh, I just got an offer. I have like a 98 average, blah, blah, blah. Or like people will talk about their averages so much, and then like maybe someone with like a
Mm-hmm.
96 average is gonna be like, oh shoot, I'm not gonna get in because they have a
Yeah.
98. But then someone with a 94 is like, oh shit, this person with a 96 doesn't think they can get in. I don't think I'm gonna get in. And then it
Yeah.
goes down. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like you shouldn't compare grades with people, obviously. But
Mm-hmm.
then when you're being accepted based on like a large part of your
Your
grade, it's
grades,
hard, you know?
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Like like I'm in one of the servers and literally all they do is talk about grades, and I'm like, guys, like I know it's tough, but this is you're literally like
You're just like,
everyone
it's
here
out
has
of your control.
like everyone here has a
there's
grade
nothing
above a
you can do.
95, like
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like they're all very good grades, and like obsessing over like one person's like if someone got accepted, obsessing over their grades isn't going to do anything. Like it's also not entirely grades, especially for this program. It's like your like application, your like extra stuff that you have to do, and but then and also at the same time there's people that get in who literally talk about their grade all the time, you know what I mean, like you know people in those like servers or like groups that are like only there to flex their grade.
Oh my gosh. Okay, here I didn't join servers. Okay, first of all, I didn't apply to any competitive schools because I didn't want to go to a big university, and I didn't apply to a competitive program. I applied for a general Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. So I don't have the same experience of like stressing over grades and stuff. In fact, like I don't. But I think so much you see um like the grade comparing and stuff, and I think if I tried to like not watch or consume anything about other people's university experiences because I tend not to like to hear other people's, not that I don't want to hear other people's opinions, but I don't want to fall down that rabbit hole of like, oh well, this person experienced this and did this, so therefore I'm going to do this and this. Because it's different. Like someone getting accepted with this grade doesn't mean, like you said it doesn't mean you're not going to get accepted either. So I just, it's a really, like, it's helpful in a way having a group of people who who are going to the same program as you, and you can like kind of talk and bond, but at the same time it's a very slippery slope of like, oh no, right?
Yeah, like there's programs I've seen where people are like like some programs that like our friends apply to, but like they're stressing over their averages because to them like the cutoff, like the acceptable mark that they should have for like a chance, it's like a 98, which is crazy. You know what I mean?
Insane.
Like
That's
how
the thing. Yeah, and it's like, and you have like, we have, I've talked to some people who are like experiencing these nerves as they very well should. Like it's completely valid nerve, but it's like
it wears down on them.
Yeah, exactly. Like you've done everything you can, and it is out of your control now. And then you see them burn out, and it's they've put all of this effort in, and they finish with like an absolutely insane grade, and they still feel this like anxiousness of like, I don't think that was good enough, and that's like really like
like people are striving for beyond perfect, like beyond perfection, and it's like it's also really hard because like I didn't really apply to like super competitive programs, so it sucks that like I'm like, you know, like we're sitting here watching our friends go through this, you know what I mean? Like my midterms don't really matter, but like my friends are killing themselves, or like it's their last chance, you know, to get like their grades up.
Exactly.
And they're killing themselves over it, and it sucks. Like I don't like
and it's so sad because they're so like hell bent on this grade, and it's like, and I really put fault on the universities for that. Like I understand like your program's really good and it's competitive, therefore there's a high admissions average. But like I wish they would say something to kind of like dissuade this illusion that like 99 above is what's gonna get you in.
Yeah.
And like, give some sort of break. So like it gives these students peace of mind, because like for me, like I had all of my acceptances before January. Like because my programs were all like non-competitive, I got early admissions, so I've been fine. I just need to keep my average high enough that for like my conditional offer, which is fine. So then seeing everyone else kind of like just like they're sitting there calculating like after an assignment or a test, like how low can my mark afford to go before my average dips below the 98 mark, and it's like like just like breathe. But like that's also so patronizing to say.
Like you like they also understand that it's bad, but they can't help but worry, you know what I mean? Because it's so ingrained, especially like I guess within our group of like gifted kids, like marks mean something, you know what I mean? And like the university is going to mean something for a lot of people, and just like everyone's comparing their marks. Like maybe people that haven't gotten an offer are like looking at people who got in for early admissions, and for these competitive programs, these people that are getting in for early admissions are like the best of the best. Do you know what I mean? Like they're like kids with like super insane averages who are like in so many clubs, who probably like met like the president of like every single country, and it's like they're like really good, like really
like
really
top
good
1% of like extremely like prodigy level students.
But then it's like I don't want to say like a regular kid, but like I guess like your typical.
Our friends are not regular kids. Like look at their like that's the thing is, when you start to feel like a 98 is like a regular average mark,
that's how you know they mess with you. But
like that's not right. Like, and our provincial average is
like a 7.
Anything above an 80 is considered above the provincial average. But to us, anything below like a 95 is like
not good enough.
We're gonna fail. Nothing's gonna happen. We're never gonna get into like it's
and like
bad.
And also like I think having access to like the grade cutoff of like last year's or the years before, like people are like compare themselves to like last year's cutoffs and stuff like that, or maybe like also last year we had like half the year online, so
that's true.
Keep that in mind, or just like the
Or like, you know, the people who like they know someone in the university's admissions board and like, oh, my second cousin's mom's dog walker's friend is on like McMaster's admission services, and they say you need like a 98.6 in order to even be considered, and then you have all these kids like,
yeah, like it invokes fear among people. Like you're just spreading stuff to scare people. You know what I mean? Or like that's, I don't know, because I know the McMaster's mission server, they ban people from showing their averages and stuff, because it's like, because it does create like a really bad environment when if you're constantly being bombarded with all these grades that you have to meet, or like these people that you're asking everyone for their averages. Like it's,
yeah,
like I get that
it's
you
damaging.
like you want to have a good average, you want to have like the best chance you can have, but when it goes from like a slight motivation to like obsessive, it's like,
Yeah,
I don't know. It sucks that some people fall into this like rabbit hole of like, oh my, I need this, to even have a shot. But it's like, I don't know. It's like February, for example. Like it's in like people in February are stressing, but like you have a really long time to go.
yeah,
And there's like
and
multiple rounds.
not
you know?
sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's one of the things that I'm kind of excited for about university is that pressure of grades. I feel like is gonna be less
Yeah.
communal. Like, I'm really excited, no offense, to not share classes with anyone, because one of the things I really have grown to hate in this past year is having classes with my friends who are all very, very academically driven, because the second you get a test back, it's immediately like, oh, what did you get? What did you get? What did you get? And I hate that. And I don't share my grades anymore, because if I get lower than them, they're like, oh, that's so good. But they're also like crapping on their own grades, which is like a whole other conversation. If you get higher than them, you kind of have this feeling of like, I didn't deserve this, because like, how did I get a grade that's higher than the supposedly quote unquote like smart person? So like, I'm very excited to be in a program where like your grade is kind of like your own,
And also,
and like,
just like I guess escaping the environment. I don't know.
The anonymity is really appealing to me. Like
a fresh start.
Like, yeah, everyone's like, oh, in university you're just a number. Like, okay,
good,
great. I don't want to be like, oh my goodness. When they're like, when people say like, oh, this is like smart people things, and then everyone looks at you because you're the gifted kid.
Yeah, like
very excited.
Sorry, you cut off for a bit.
Oh, sorry. I just said like, I'm excited for the anonymity, because I don't want to have these expectations that kind of come with, like, not to like sound narcissistic, but like when you're in high school and you're in the gifted program, people know you're gifted. And so when you're in classes that are like non-gifted classes, people kind of have this expectation that you're smart, right? And I don't want that anymore. Like, I want to just be a regular student. I don't want you to have these expectations of me that are kind of rooted in this image of what I should be. So I guess I'm excited for that.
Yeah, like I don't mean to crap on gifted kids, but just because it's in like 4 years, and I've shared like 90% of my class with the same people again and again, and like everyone has like a role, or like you have like a set role, or like a set
subject.
Like some people, like you're either like you're the math kid, or you're the chemistry kid, or maybe you're like the dumb math kid, or you're the good math kid. Like like in your class, people might like, I don't want to be mean, but I'm 90% sure I'm the dumb math kid in my class. But
no, I don't think so.
But, or just like, or okay, maybe not too, but there's definitely people in our math, like just like people who have like these ideas of you. Like, do you remember that one time I was talking about my something, my test, and then they asked like what my average was, and I said my average, and like, really, you have a higher average than blank? You? And I was like, what do you mean by that? Like,
I have been, okay, yeah, if we're gonna talk about roles, like, I am not the person who's known as like, okay, the roles that I have acquired, I don't know how I've acquired them, because somehow I ended up being someone who was good at biology, even though I never really said that. I just said I enjoyed biology the most. And then I would have like the like smart, quote unquote smart science kids who would like come up to me and thinking that I'm also smart. I'm like, I'm not saying I'm smart or I'm not smart. This is my favorite subject of all the sciences. And then like they'll ask you for your average, and then they'll be like, oh, it's that, like, when I say, like, it's, I guess it's lower than what they expected, and then I'm like, why would you say that?
Yeah, like when they make a face at your mark, and you're like, I will what? I'm gonna cry
Yeah,
on the
and
spot.
like,
Don't make that face.
and the flip side of it is because I'm also, I guess, like, on the topic of roles, good at English, quote unquote. That's a whole other conversation. But like, I remember distinctly, I was like, oh man, I didn't do too great on that last paper, and I was like, just, like, dealing with it. And someone goes, oh, like, what's your average? And I was this, and they're like, really? And I was like, yeah. Like, why would I lie? And then, or then, like, when people do better than you in the subject that you're supposed to be good at,
Yeah,
they
and
have
like,
this, like,
how did I get
savior
better than
complex.
you?
Yeah, they're like, I don't deserve that.
I'm like, just shut up and take your
yeah,
mark.
just
Like,
take your mark.
like,
Yeah, like, or they're like, oh, you
mhm.
carried me through that mark. I'm like, no, I didn't. I edited your paper. You edited mine. Like, you did the
Yeah.
assignment. Like, just take your mark. Be happy. It's okay.
Like, maybe I don't know enough about university marks, but I know that people are like, oh, when you get a 50 in a class, and it's like a good thing because it's like, or like, because grades are, I don't know. I know people like like high 90s are not that attainable for like most people. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're expected to drop like a certain amount from like high school to university, and like.
Yeah.
I don't know, just because I know some people are going into the university like after their undergrad, they're gonna do more, and like I guess your mark kind of matters, but like, I feel like people are mature enough to not, or maybe it's
be mean about it.
maybe it's like having a different group of friends that aren't like like being in classes with so many people that it doesn't really matter what everyone else is getting, or just like in a class where not every single kid is gifted who's been raised with the idea that marks equate like value,
Yeah.
So just being in like a new environment, I'm kind of excited. Like I'm nervous because I'm like, when people are like, oh, okay, first of all, our whole last year has been online, so I don't know how much I actually know and how much is like
same.
like
That's the whole reason I'm taking the AP
they like
exams.
dumb down a lot of the courses and stuff, like there's no because there's no way they're fitting like everything they would in normally. There was no exams because we didn't have time for them because we're online, right? Like we have like
they have no way to administer them. Yeah.
So I'm really worried that like I'm gonna go into university, everything's gonna be in person again. I'm just gonna be lost. But at the same time, I know it, like I understand that I know it, and I understand that everyone else is also in the same boat, and like university, your marks are bound to drop.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, when teachers are like, "Oh, your study habits are bad. You won't be able to survive university." Like, I have no, like, there's so much pressure on having like a good study method, but like, and then when teachers will like bring up a random study method and make you do it, but then it's like not helping you at all, and then they're like, "No, trust me, it works. Scientifically, it is proven that this works." And then, but then you're kind of like, "But I hate the color red. Why are you making me write in the margins with red pen?" Like I you know what I mean? Or, like, because there's obviously different studying styles that suit different people, but then there's like I get that high school is kind of like your trial period for a study thing, but like what if you don't have one? Like, 'cause I don't think I studied like the best. You know what I mean? It's a lot of like the week. Like you don't really we gotta like space out your studying. Study as soon as you get home every day, like for a little bit, and then at the end of the week, like before your test, you don't have to study everything again.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember those times when we were studying for our bio test and we were just all in a big call like the night 3 nights before?
I hated those calls because the anxiousness rises, the emotions rise, and like suddenly everyone's upset, and it's like, oh my goodness. That's another thing that I'm like kind of scared of, kind of like going off of what you were saying. Like I think I have decent study habits. I might have mentioned this before. Like I was never a really strong academic kid, so all of the marks I have to work for it. Like I'm not someone who can just read it the night before and do really well. So I think in terms of like work ethic and study habit, I think I'm okay. That might have changed in the last year being at home in quarantine, but
yeah, like
also they like screwed my schedule over. Like my math and sciences were first semester. I'm doing all humanities now, so when I go into first year, I'm nothing. So that's scary.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of nervous, kind of excited to see that transition of all of these gifted kids who have like lived and breathed gifted for the last like 7 years go into an environment where it doesn't matter.
Yeah, like I'm excited for certain people to finally be able to be free of like the marks, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of very smart kids in our like that we know, but they're like really stressed all the time. Like it's so mark focused, and I'm really excited to see them like I guess prosper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I know like university's gonna be good for them. Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's part of the worries of university is just like the type of people you're gonna meet because you're gonna meet a whole like going from elementary school to high school where you suddenly went from like I think our elementary school had what 700 kids to
Yeah.
1,600 kids. Like, that's double, and now you're going to a school with like
Yeah.
you have 1,000 kids in your class. Like you're
And
gonna
it's
meet
like,
a lot of people.
yeah, and like the people that you kind of live with, like your community, they're all pretty similar. You know what I mean? Like if you live,
Yeah,
I guess similar. I don't want to say similar, but like there's like a common, like
culture.
yeah.
There's a
Like,
culture.
but then you go to university and you meet people from like completely different places, and then they have like a different like I guess norm or like a culture, and then it's like, damn, y'all are really racist there, just like blatantly for like, you know what I mean? Like a big part of it is like meeting new people that, I guess, maybe okay. It's different.
Yeah,
It's definitely different for people like because we're both Asian. If you don't watch the videos, but me and Kaila are both Asian, and I don't want to say a big factor of like, I guess, for me picking universities because there's universities in like Ontario and Canada that are known for being racist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like another factor you have to add, like and just like the fact that there's so many people that are going from so many different places where like I don't want to be like, oh, people from this place are racist, but there are more people from these places that are racist than there are other places.
We live in a very diverse community, and that's not to say we don't have our own, like, our community doesn't have our own issues that we need to work with, but there's a lot more exposure to different people with different stories and different cultures and
Yeah,
different,
like it's more accepting.
minority statuses. So you're more quote unquote educated.
Yeah.
And there are definitely people who come from much smaller towns or different areas where it's a lot more dominated by not people of color
Or like
and
minorities, yeah.
yeah, so I'm definitely a little bit nervous there because it's hard to talk and relate to people who don't have, in a way, like some sort of similar experience to you.
Yeah.
I think kind of connected to minorities. Another thing I've kind of been scared about is like I'm going into psychology, and in the fields of sciences, psychology is not that well respected. Like it's not like not respected, but it's always like
a soft science
and psychology. Yeah, like it's a soft science, which is like whatever. Like I'm not going to be the one who's going to change that, but kind of going into a field where I want respect. Like I want to be. I'm gonna pay for this degree. I want it. I want people to know that like it's gonna mean something. Because I also plan to do like right now. My plan is to do graduate school, and get a master's. And I'm nervous that not only being in a field that's a little bit less taken seriously, but also as a woman, it scares me because like I have friends. I have a friend right now. She's genetics, and she's taking like all these high level science courses, and she talks constantly about how she will give the right answer or say something and no one will listen to her, no one will believe her, she'll get talked over, people will take her answers, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah. Like because there's like when you're going to like research or like really academic heavy places like that, there's a lot of like ingrained sexism in people. Like a lot of the professors, a lot of the people that you're going to be working with, there's a lot of ingrained sexism. And like I don't know if I'm like, am I really ready for that? Like I get like there's like a fair share in high school, but it's like in university these are like full adults in like classes who just are dismissing. Yeah. And I guess like the work you're doing matters like a bit more. Like I don't really care if no one believes that like 3 times 7 is like 21. Is it? Yeah,
and
it
there's
is.
like that whole okay, I've been thinking about this now because this is okay, I have to give context. It's gonna sound really out of place, but we're reading a book in English right now, called Everything I Never Told You, and the mother
reading
in the book talks about how she wanted to go to Harvard and become a doctor, and this takes place in like the 70s, I think. So you don't see a lot of women doing that, and how like people kind of said, oh, she's going to Harvard, she's going to find a nice man and settle down, and she ends up doing that, and it kind of talks a little bit about her feeling of like, oh, like I had all these hopes and dreams of being a doctor, but I did what everyone kind of expected of me into this. And not that there's anything wrong with it, but it works through her feelings of like that, and I'm scared about that. Like I'm like, I have all these big dreams for a career. What happens if I go in there and then like they don't come true?
Yeah. Like the whole like the idea of having like a dream career or like a dream job, like you're working towards something, but like there's once again there's no guarantee of it happening. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it's nerve-wracking where I guess like did you pick the right thing? Like I get you can change it,
Mm-hmm.
but like you're gonna fall so behind if you change it. You know what I mean? Like there's like a bit like I'm really
Yeah.
scared that I'm gonna decide that I want to do something and then like halfway through I'm like oh crap I really hate it because like I don't really know what I want to do yet. I'm choosing some
Yeah.
of the most general science programs that I can, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like if I choose like what if I go into PMB, which means it means psychology, neurology, neuroscience, and behavior, not brain. So like what if I do that and then I'm like crap what if I want to go into like chemical research and but here
Yeah.
I am studying the brain, you know, like I
Mm-hmm.
like it's like I don't want to scare anybody but it's like I don't know like I
I
think
think everyone has these thoughts
yeah
though.
like what if you mess up, what if you choose the wrong path and then you have to
Mm-hmm.
restart. I cannot handle like doing
Change.
so much and then
Yeah.
having to redo everything once again just because I chose the wrong thing at first, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But also at the same time,
I,
I feel like I'm accepting enough of literally any path that I can choose whatever and still be happy. Like there's I don't have a dream career, you know what I mean? Like
mm,
maybe like a general like vicinity of like science-ish area, but it's not like I want to be like a radiologist
true.
like a lab technician. There's like I'm open to anything, but at the same time like what if there is something that I really want? But also at the same time, there's no way there's something I really want because I want everything. You know?
Yeah, and I think, and I say like logically, you can kind of tell yourself like you have so much time because
Mhm.
that is true. Like you are 17, 18 going into
Yeah.
university. Like you've barely like not to sound like those old people, but like you've barely started your life. Like
Mhm.
you have time to
Yeah.
figure it out. But at the same time, when you have the whole world telling you you need to figure it out now, like
Yeah,
it's
like you're
scary because
applying,
like
because like in high school, you know that the courses you take in grade 10 affect the courses you take in grade 11 because you have prereqs, and the courses you take in grade 11 affect the courses you can take in grade 12, and the courses you take in grade 12 affect what universities you can apply to because of prereqs. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
so
like,
you kind of have to have like a oh
like
okay
what if I didn't take any? What if I decided I didn't want to do science in grade 11, but then I decided I wanted to in grade 12? Then I'm screwed because I don't. I have to take. You know what I mean? Or like, what if,
it's really
like, what if I
hard.
want to go into like art, but then I didn't have enough art prereqs or something because I kept
Hmm.
taking science courses, and now I can't apply to art programs because of it. You know?
Yeah, I'm really scared because like I've thought about it. I don't think I could be happy in business. I don't know if I would be happy like
Mhm.
I went through a lot of different fields and I was like I don't know if I would A be
Yeah.
happy at it or B be good at it. Like
Mhm.
psychology and like the world of that and like what I kind of want to work in is the only thing that I can think of that is
Yeah.
A gives me some sort of job security, financial security, and is something that I could be happy and potentially good at. And I'm really scared I'm going to go into first year psych and just realize
Mhm. Like,
that's not it.
yeah. Like
And then I'm going to be like, shoot.
Mhm. I don't. Yeah. Like when you're talking about like, would I be happy doing this? I don't think I found like I guess like going into science like this is my favorite thing. I'm gonna be. I'm so good at this, and I love this, and I want to get this certain job. It's kind of like I don't think I could be happy doing blank. I don't think I can be happy doing blank, but I think I'd be the most happy doing this. Like it's not
Yeah.
like I don't really have like a set goal in mind. I just want to make money, but like not be upset during my job. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But on
Hmm.
the topic of like I guess being taken seriously, like the nerves and everything, another thing that I saw a lot when back to the applying to programs and getting offers is like when you weren't in competitive programs and you got an offer and people kind of dismissed it because like oh of course you're gonna get an offer, yeah, or just like or people are like oh I wish I applied to less competitive programs like this and then they list your programs and you're like yeah
Yeah,
okay.
I got an acceptance.
Mhm.
I was talking about once, I said, oh man, I'm really stressed about keeping my average high enough because I want to be eligible for this scholarship. And, and like, this was back when I was still waiting on I was waiting on my first choice university's acceptance. And I was like, oh man, like, I'm nervous. And someone said to me, they're like, yeah, but your marks are really good. And I was like, yeah, but I'm still nervous. And they're like, yeah, I think they said like, oh, you're probably gonna be like top of this class because that's like the bottom of this school, like this competitive school's marks. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Like I
okay,
there's people like back to like comparing marks. People compare everything, but it's like how do you not notice that what you're doing is kind of like rude, you know? Like telling
mm-hmm,
people that their achievements are less or like they're
mm-hmm,
not as good as you or like as good as other people just because their programs are less competitive or their schools are less known for certain things. Like how do you sit down and say oh, you'll be fine. Your school's not that hard, or like it's not it like or like of course you got an offer. It's such an easy school to get into. Anyone can get
Art.
in. Like why would you say that? You know what I mean? Like why would
Yeah.
you sit down and say anyone can get into your school when someone's excited about getting an offer? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like why would you take that from them?
Like just be happy and move on. Like so what? You don't think the school's a good thing for you? Well, maybe it's good for someone else. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, that is another thing like you kind of have to think about and you're kind of scared about is like um when I know the school that I originally wanted to go to for a while was this it was a newer school, so it didn't have as big of a name as like say your McMaster's, your Queens, your big schools, right? And I remember thinking like something that I was always nervous about was like if I ever do go to this university, like are people gonna like make fun of me or like
yeah,
think that it's like less than because like
because you see people making fun of that university all the time, and like
yeah, and
different
you have people
universities.
who are like for some reason a science degree from this university is different and like less than a science from this university.
Yeah, like
Like
there's a
science degree, sorry.
yeah, like like I get that certain programs are good, but also at the same time, just because one program is better than the other program doesn't mean that program is not good. You know what I mean? And people
Hmm.
have different like paths that they want to do. Not everyone wants to take like the super competitive courses. Like, as someone I don't know, cause at McMaster's, you know, there's like health science, and
Hmm.
everyone wants to go to health science. It's like the big thing, and
Health
then
science are best.
and then I hear people like always like constantly talking down on life sciences or like, oh, of course you're getting in. Life science is so easy. It's health science where it's at. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, but
Yeah.
maybe some people don't want to do health science. You know what I mean? Or just like
Yeah.
maybe life science is a big achievement to them. And, like I definitely am guilty of like I guess being nervous for my marks. Like back to what we were talking about, like being comparing our marks and stuff because I generally didn't think I would get into life science. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But then when I got in, everyone's like, "See, of course you did. It's such an easy program to get into." I'm like, I don't know. Like I really wish you didn't just say that to me after
Hmm.
I've been nervous for like months about my offers and stuff. Like I
Yeah, I
really
think people think it's reassuring when they
yeah,
say
like
that when it's
there's a difference between saying no, I know you're gonna be you're really smart. Like instead of talking about the program itself, talk about them. Like, oh, of course you got in. You're really smart. Like
yeah, like I've had confidence like of course
yeah.
like
Like of course you got in. Your
I
average
never
is really
doubted
smart.
for a
You work
second.
yeah. Like you work really hard. You try your
Exactly.
best and there's no reason you would have gotten in. Rather than like, oh, of course you got in. It's such an easy program to get in. Anyone can get
Yeah.
in. Like, do you
Or
see the
like
difference between those two phrases? Like
yeah. And the people who kind of like and I'm definitely guilty of this because I would kind of tell myself this to reassure myself because I'd be like, oh, you know, my program's only like a 75% average. Like, of course I'm gonna get in. Like I kind of did that to like calm myself down.
I know,
But you
but
definitely
that's
see a
like
lot of people
different
who are
though.
kind of like, yeah,
Like
I was gonna say like you see people who are like I would say, oh yeah, I'm nervous, and they're like your program's like an 80 average. Like you're fine. Like you have like way better average than that, and you can just tell that they don't really take it seriously.
yeah, because it's like because it's the program is like so bad quotation marks if you can't see, but it's so bad that like it's you don't deserve to be nervous over it because it's such a low level
Mhm.
program,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Like um people
Oopsies.
I've had people be like, oh, I wish I applied to your program, it's so much easier than mine, and I'm like, okay, like it's like yeah, and then I wouldn't be stressed, you know, like like I don't know, I'm like okay,
Look how happy
well,
you are
that's
with your
like
little arts program.
that's
Look
on
at
you
you.
though. Why are you dragging me into this? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it hurts a little bit when people dismiss your program or like or your choices, I guess, just because they think it's not as good as theirs or not good in general. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there are really unnecessary comments people make about universities. Maybe it's different within like the gifted bubble, but they're definitely
Definitely.
yeah. It's just
We are definitely the
mhm.
worst.
But I guess just in general when people just if you are applying to universities where you know people are or you're just congratulating someone, don't do any of the things we just said that are bad and mean. Be nice. Congratulate them on their hard work and effort.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Don't bring into account their program.
yeah.
Don't talk about the acceptance average. Don't talk about their average. Congratulate them on their work
Like
ethic.
get off your high horse, you know?
Yeah. Like people's programs look different, and I think that's another part that I'm kind of excited. I think there are certain people that kind of need exposure to the real world, and I don't want to come off like condescending, like I'm this big mature person, because I definitely need my own reality check. I know it's coming, but I think in university you're exposed to a lot of people who like are on different paths, and you kind of see that like
Mhm.
it's okay to not be med school or bust, or
Yeah.
like engineering or bust. you know?
Mm-hmm.
Not that med school or engineering is wrong. Like, if that's what you want to do, go for it. Like, I fully support you. But just, you don't need to drag other people down.
Yeah. Like, I definitely feel like university is, or just like post-secondary careers, or not careers, education is a lot less competitive. But I've heard stories of people going into med school, because med school is competitive, right? I've heard stories of people in their undergrad sabotaging other students in their class just so that they have no chance of going to med school. So there's like a rule: if you're going to med school, you don't tell anybody that you're going to med school, because people will like come after you. Like, I think
Actually?
yeah, like this one, I heard a story about these two girls who were in a project together with someone else, and the other person on their like peer feedback said they were both like really bad, and it like tanked their mark just because they were going to med school.
That's terrible.
Yeah. So if you're going into med school, don't tell anyone, I think. That's what I've been hearing.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because it's like
that's so awful.
For universities, like a lot of the like the last, like their undergrad is like their final step, but if you're going past that, it's still the same like high school competitiveness, you know what I mean?
Shoot, man.
But like for like, I don't know, I don't, not to scare anyone, but like
universities need to do something about this. Like, I wish universities did something. Like, stop telling me about the infrastructure and your window painting, and start doing something about the fact that like there are kids who are depressed in your school.
Yeah.
Hello! This is just a really quick trigger warning and a little bit of a content warning. In this next section, we do talk about things like racism and sexual assault, so if those topics make you uncomfortable, please check the description down below for the timestamp of the next section, and carry on.
And like,
ooh, a good topic. The rate, like, there are schools in Ontario that have like a really alarming suicide rate for their students.
Trigger warning.
And there's like no system really in place to deal with it. And
yeah, like they just brush it under the rug.
And it's like nerve-wracking because like like I don't know if anyone's like read the Harvard racism resource thing, but it's like, if you're sad about being Asian, think about all your ancestors that came before you and all the arts and all the things they did. That's like their like anti-Asian racism page.
Oh my goodness.
And that's Harvard, you know? Like, just like like the ugly side of university, like overworked students, racism, stuff like that. Like all these things.
Sexual assault. Like, you see so many things of like they just don't deal with it, and I think
like it's like nerve-wracking, because it's like you're excited about like the fun parts, like meeting new people, having cool classes, and meeting new professors, but then at the same time on the other side it's like, well, there's gonna be,
I'm making a list of the self-defense items I need to buy.
Yeah, that's like another really scary part of university. Especially
for people who like sorry, go ahead.
Like, especially for people that like are more aware of these problems, or like are more heavily impacted, like minorities and stuff. These things become like a really big problem, because in high school, like, okay, not to say that these problems don't exist in high school, but in high school I don't know, there's more authority, like there's people to stop these high school students, you know, like,
and they tend to be less aggressive, like overtly violent. Yeah, like they're still harmful,
but you have like full adults in university perpetuating these things, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like, it's, people are just unhinged, you know?
Yeah.
And also like, I feel like your workload in high school is probably a lot less than your workload in university. And like, I don't, you know, like when you hit that university stage and you're alone, like you're in a new school, you have no family, no friends, and you're alone and you're drowning in your work. Like, that's really scary to think about.
Yeah. I like to think that I have a pretty good support system, but at the same time, I think a lot of the people in our friend group are all guilty of that same mentality of, I don't want to burden other people.
Yeah. And also, like, it's different when your support group is digital. Like, you don't have anyone in person, you know what I mean? Because you have to, like, you trust your close friends. Like, you could probably tell them a lot of things. Like, if you're feeling upset, or, like, you know, and stuff like that. But then if you meet new people, and you have to, like, start at, like, zero again and work your way back up, you're not, like, I don't know, like, it's difficult talking to new people that you literally just met, like, 3 weeks ago. You know what I mean?
You don't know anything about them. Like, that really scares me, is like, someone become friends with someone and realize that they're like
the awful
not a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Or just
Yeah,
like
there's
the
a lot.
I'm scared of the ugly side of university. Like I think it'll be fine in terms of like food, living. I'll figure it out eventually. But
We'll
like
figure out the meal
yeah.
plans.
But then it's like, wait, what the hell do you do about the ugly side of university? Like what the hell do you do
The
about
things
this?
you can't control.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's like and the scariest part is that I'm not gonna have like, cause you know how you have like I guess like trusted adults or like trusted people that you can talk to. You're an adult on your own, you know, like you
exactly.
can't pull up to your like English teacher's room and talk to her about something. You can't tell like you can't really like talk to your parents, you know what I mean?
Oh, that scares me. I thrive off of building relationships with my teachers, and I know everyone says that like your profs don't care about you, and that really scares me. And the fact that like you're like it's like the TAs and stuff that are doing the profs'
Mhm.
work, like it really scares. Like I want to be able to. I want to know that I'm gonna. Well, I know I'm not going to be able to because like Psych 101 is like one of the like biggest first year classes.
Mhm.
So I know I'm not going to be able to just go up to my teacher and ask them questions. But like that scares me. Like,
Yeah, like
why do
there's
you
no
not want to help
connection with the
me?
teacher. Like you know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
like the distance between you and your teacher. Cause like I'm pretty close with like a lot of my like okay I say close I think I'm like comfortable with a lot of my teachers. Like if I had a question, I wouldn't feel nervous asking them. If I had like a question, I knew
Mm.
they'd answer me. Or like if I was struggling on something, I know they'd help me. But then again, it's like when you get to university, it's like you're one of like 1,000. Like what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I think that's enough fear for today.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry if we
But
invoked fear amongst anyone, but
it's gonna be okay. We'll all
yeah,
figure it out.
if you're struggling, I don't
You're not
know.
alone.
Thank you guys so much for listening to our nerve-filled rant about
Yeah.
going to university. I hope that maybe you found found comfort in the fact that other people are nervous about the same things as you are, or maybe you found new things to be nervous of, and we're very sorry about that. But
You can tell us what you're nervous about,
yeah,
then
we
we
can
can be
be
nervous with you.
yeah we can get all our nerves out before we get in.
Yeah.
So hopefully everyone's doing all right going to university.
Stay home.
Hopefully we'll have all our nerves figured out before we step foot onto campus. But thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great day, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, follow us on our social medias, and drop a like. And let us know anything you want to let us know. Comment to your heart's desire.
Exactly.
So thank you so much for listening. Cap
Bye, guys.
out. Bye.
Bye.